Okay, fellow Z owners, I've been doing a lot of reading on the internet about doing a J30 to a 300Z swap, and after doing all the reading, I come to the conclusion not everybody's posting everything you need to swap over to do a J30 300Z swap. So here we go, guys. This is my 300ZX. This is my J30 engine. Okay, I'm going to show you a few things I had to swap. One most important part I had to swap is this right here, this little brass insert. The J30 has a right hand dipstick tube, and the 300ZX has a left hand dipstick tube. So what you have to do, guys, is pull the oil pan and come from underneath and knock the brass insert out and swap it to the right side. And the reason why you got to do that is because the J30, the oil pan has a sump in the front, but the 300ZX has an oil pan sump in the rear. So what you have to do is swap your oil pan, knock your brass insert out the left side and put it into the right side, which will allow you to put your dipstick in this hole here. If you do not do that, when you start your engine, your dipstick will fly out. It's not a pretty sight. Okay, moving on. I haven't installed my exhaust manifolds yet, but you have to change the exhaust manifolds. They are shaped different. Another thing I found that was not on the internet was your intake valve covers. On a 300ZX, they go downwards. On the 95 J30, they protrude out forward on both sides. I could have just changed these tubes, but I find once you pull these tubes out, they always want to fly out on you, and they'll get hung up in your throttle and make your throttle stick. So I changed my intake valve covers. One thing I had to add during this 95 J30 swap to a 93 300ZX is your fuel temp sensor. The J30 had the hole to put the fuel temp sensor, just never had a fuel temp sensor. So all I had to do was pull my fuel temp sensor out of my old engine and install it into my fuel rail. Another thing I found, which is not very important, and it's very obvious but never read on the internet, is the right side timing cover. On the 300ZX, your PTU is on the right side. On the J95 J30, it was on top of the plenum. So I changed my right side timing cover so I can have my PTU in front of the engine. Another thing is the crank pulley. I haven't installed my crank pulley, but on a 95 J30, the crank pulley is a lot bigger than the 93 300ZX. So you must change your crank pulley if you want your engine to run like a 300ZX, not a J30. But everything else is pretty much the same. Coolant pipes was exactly the same. This is the 95 J30 coolant pipes. Crank angle sensor, 95 J30 sensors, all came from the 95 J30. The